I will be playing a game with my Rate and Climb account, and I will teach you what I think about during a chess game, so you can use this to win more games as well. We are currently above 1700 rating. We are slowly getting closer to 1800, and our opponents are also getting stronger. So let's see what we are going to play. We are playing against e4, and I always choose to play the Scandinavian defense against it. Of course, there are many great openings, but this is just my favorite opening. And I'm already at a level here, I think about 1800 rating. It starts to become more important that you somewhat know what you are doing before you get into the game. You don't want to rush into a game at 1800 rating and not really have any idea what opening you are going to play. That doesn't mean you need to memorize a bunch of complex variations. I even always keep things simple, even with this opening. But still, you can't really expect to go into an 1800 rated game without any opening knowledge and do a great job. So this is very standard. This is actually the most standard position I have ever had in my Scandinavian. And this move is a small inaccuracy by white. They should actually play h3 first if they want to play that move to hunt down my bishop. Because the bishop just attacks the queen and it's already a little bit annoying. And this is something that I only know because I have looked at this opening before. So you can see that here, 1800, as I said, here opening preparation is becoming a little bit more important. But this is a small mistake that he made. For a bunch of reasons. First of all, my bishop stays alive. The second thing being that this knight is sometimes hanging, so that can be a problem as well. I think everything is fine. We can just protect. The only downside is I don't know this variation extremely well because it's not super common that they make this mistake at the 2000 plus level of putting the knight on the edge of the board. Okay, so it looks like everything is fine. Just looking to castle, keep things simple. I think h6 might be a move at some point as well. Because if we play h6 and they take, their knight is actually in some trouble. But they always then have the move pawn to g4 and things get very, very messy. I think maybe I could even have played h6 on the previous move. But in general, even if you don't know this as white, putting your knight on the edge of the board is often not the right move. So that's how my opponent could have somehow known that this was not really a good plan. Let's play h6. Let's just see what they do. Because if they trade, I think their knight is in some trouble. Yeah, and the game might turn around quickly and black might be better. They do have a sacrifice. I am aware of that. They can sacrifice a bishop for 2 pawns. But in general, those types of sacrifices don't work here because there are way too many pieces around my king. So that's a bit of experience that I'm not really afraid of this anymore because I know it's probably not going to work out anyways. And this is already trouble for white. You can see the knight is stuck, basically. It's just stuck. It can't go anywhere. If they protect it, I take, and then we win a pawn. So the best option is probably for them to play g4. We take, they take. Wow, boom. The rook's gone as well. So already a bunch of trouble. And this is, I think, just opening going wrong for my opponent. Yeah, I think it's just the opening going wrong. Just a slight inaccuracy of moves. And I have the advantage that I also made a Scandinavian defense course, so I know what's going on here. If you are interested in learning this opening, you should definitely go to pegasuschess.com because I have a free chess course platform, a free community. We have some free lessons on the Scandinavian, and there's also a paid course on the Scandinavian in there, in case you are interested. But this is game over, basically game over, and we are at move 14. This rook is under attack. They are down a piece. So yeah, what do they have to do? They have to like take, and then we take this. So that's already some trouble. We are up a piece, so I will be playing this move, which basically forces a trade of queens. Or at least I think it is a smart move. I have to think for a moment, because this pawn is a little bit weak. And if he goes and attacks it with the rook, I can't really play f6 without dropping that. So we have time. Let me calculate a little bit. This check, take, goes in with the rook. Well, it would be great if this bishop was gone. That's something. So I think I might actually just play a different move first. Let's see. Let's actually play pawn to a5 first, because if he doesn't pay attention, then his bishop could get in trouble, or he will have to move to the other side of the board. Yeah. So he is not paying close attention to that bishop. Okay, that means we can attack. If he goes here, his bishop is trapped. So he basically has to go the other way around. So that's looking great. I'm just looking for trades at this point. I think also, actually on the previous move, I'm playing a little bit too fast, but on the previous move, this was actually a plan. I could have just grabbed this with check. We could have had a free bishop there. Playing a little bit too quickly. Sometimes this happens as well, right? You are winning so badly that you just, you just stop looking at all the moves. But this is what was necessary. I could have actually just had a free bishop, I think, there. That's just a check. And that's something I should have played. But okay, we are still winning. It's not the end of the world right now. Okay. So everything's still looking fine. What I will do is I will have to take care a little bit, because he always has some counterattack going against this. It's not really going to matter. Let's just activate a knight. And let's see. I just want to activate my knight somewhere and trade. Okay. My idea is to always keep my queen very close to this pawn so we don't run into trouble. And exchanging attackers, that is the main plan. So this is looking like a fine move to play. Knight c5. But you can see that even I sometimes mess up, and I had a free, basically just a free piece there. Yeah, that's fine. If we can exchange that bishop, that would be great, because these two will never by themselves be able to go for a checkmate, and this move also eliminates the knight from jumping in. I even think that this move b4 will be interesting, because then the knight has to go somewhere else. So taking this would be great. Also, if I can get a rook to the back rank, delivering a check, the queen has to block, and that will be devastating. But you can see here that even when you are up material, and that is especially the case against 1700-1800 players, even when you are up material, you still have to be careful. You don't win the game automatically just because you have some extra material. You still have to fight. Okay. So this is a bit strange. He is in a sense giving me a free bishop. He takes with the rook. I don't really know what's going on with that. He takes with the rook. I mean, I think it's just a free piece. I know he still has the attack, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter too much. I think this square is the most interesting, because we also have that check forcing the trade of queens, because right now this pawn is dropping. So I think this move makes a lot of sense. I just have to watch out I don't forget about his knight, because the knight can always come in at any point. But if he takes this, which looks like a free pawn, there is a check, there is a queen trade, and he also loses a rook. So that's not too great. And I also think that now this move pawn to b4 is extra strong, because the knight doesn't really have that many good squares either. And if I can, I might even play king h7 just to protect my pawn and unpin this, or king h8, I think. Could also work. But I think once you get to this level, the 1700-1800, it's more about learning how to finish games. Because winning material is still possible. If you do CCT, the checks, captures, threats method, so meaning you calculate every check, capture, and threat during the entire game, which I do subconsciously. I don't talk about it too much anymore to save time, but I'd still calculate it. You will win material at some point, even against 1800s. It's just more so that when you win material, you still have to, yeah, show that you can finish the game. You still need to simplify it to an endgame most of the time, which is trading pieces. And also keep an eye on your own issues. Like I have some issues like this, some issues. So we need some defense skills. He is doing a big calculation, but I think honestly, we are at the point where it doesn't matter much anymore. Okay, I was thinking that this was the move he was going to play, because he is blocking this check, and it looks like he has this this attack against the pawn. But if we take the knight, he takes back. I think we just move the queen and we set up the threat again. If we take the knight and he takes this, he has a hanging rook. So we can basically do some things like check to the king and they can't take, otherwise they lose the rook. If they move the king, that's a checkmate. So I know he is trying to come up with complications, but he is just allowing more trades. We can't take this. I think at least it doesn't look that great because they would be taking this. But we do have, I think, queen here potentially to do a back rank check, or maybe even take the pawn. And then we have two back rank checks. Yeah. We are still protecting this, and we have two back rank checks. Three back rank checks. So things are looking great, I have to say. The best thing to do now would be activating this final rook. Also, if I want to solve my problems a little bit, I can always at any point just move over one of these rooks and protect. This is a move I thought he would play, because it saves him from some issues. But I think I always have this sneaky check picking up the rook if he ever tries to win that one. So it doesn't really work out for him. We can just activate a rook. He can't take this, that's protected. If he takes that, we have a check, and then we slide in and take the rook. So this is how I calculate the defense moves. I basically make sure that I mostly look at my opponent opportunities, and then I see what we can do. I do have to watch out, this is still hanging. So if I activate a rook, he takes this, I give a check. Well, if I go here, he takes this, I would give a check here. He goes in there, I would give a check here. If he blocks with the queen, that's trouble. If he goes back, I slide in with the rook, and he has to sacrifice the queen to stop checkmate. So this looks fine. And that is how I calculate. So the way to defend is to do CCT for your opponent. You want to especially calculate every check and capture for your opponent, and also threats, which usually would be checkmating threats or ways for them to try to set up a simple tactical pattern. And that is also a switch you have to flip in your mind. When you are playing a game, you want to look for your own opportunities all the time. You want to do CCT, do checks, captures, threats all of the time, so you can find any possible tactics in your game. You will find some, you will win material, and then you have to just flip it, and you have to think, okay, CCT for my opponent every single move, because you don't want to blunder the game back. And trading, that's just the biggest tip I could ever give you. Once you are up, even if it's just one pawn, once you are up something, trading becomes very important. And now we should have some type of checkmate pattern here. It's impossible, I think, that he survives this without trading the queen or without being checkmated. The question is how? Because this doesn't work. We would be dropping a rook. Let's see. Well, I think this is devastating, because wherever he goes, we have so many pieces working together. We have this rook coming in with a check. We have the queen maybe sliding over here. And I'm just looking for a queen trade at this point. That would end the game. This would be a blunder. That would be a free piece. And I think this would also not be the greatest move, because they just go here with the king, and I don't really see the follow-up But I think this wins the game. Let's see. Or at least we will have a queen trade. Yeah. So I have two rooks which can come in. And both of those will force him to step to this square. And when he steps to that square, I basically have this, which is a queen trade. There might be a checkmate even. There might be a checkmate. Is this not just a checkmate? This is attacked, this is attacked, this is attacked. Yeah, I think we even have a checkmate. Yeah. Or of course, you could also, if you didn't see the checkmate, you could also just give a check and then win the queen, and you just have a rook up endgame.